Evergreen. Where's that lazy brother of yours? Still asleep, I suppose?
Yes.
Tell him to get a move on, will you?
He's sick!
Tyzo!
Dying!
Sergeant?
Fine, Mrs. Boswell. What's this I hear about young Tyzo being ill?
Oh, he's not ill. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just faking. There's nothing the matter with him, Professor. I'm a gypsy woman, I know. Can't operate to the nilo. Watch your pray.
I'll just give him a shot of something to quiet him.
No!
Don't worry, Mrs. Boswell. As being a professor of psychology, I'm also a doctor of medicine.
You don't need no doctor. If he was ill, I could mend him. We gypsies have our own ways.
Even so, this will help settle him down.
He's going to the university with you every day that's done it, Professor.
And is he how?
Since you started filling his head with ideas about him being something special, he's been acting more like a little Giorgio bread. He cheeked his father this morning and he got punished for it. That's all there is the matter with him.
All right, Tyzo, old son. Turn over, old boy. On your front. Right over. That's it.
Here to help. Think of a fist. Think. Concentrate.
We bring our boys up strict, Professor. They're not spoiled like our Giorgio brats.
Link your mind.
Lost him.
What do you think's happened?
No, nothing serious. He started to break out and then he lapsed back into being normal. Trouble is, we weren't in any sort of real contact long enough to trace him. Correct him?
I'm afraid so, John. His telepathy was too jumbled and too weak to be of any real value in tracing him.
This mental picture at one stage of strange surroundings. I was seen through his eyes. He seemed to be in a cabin of some sort, not a room.
On board a ship, you mean?
Yes, it could be.
Never mind, we'll just have to wait till he starts to break out again. Not too bad, though. At least now we know there's soon to be another tomorrow person.
I think it's cause for some small celebration.
Face. I saw through his eyes as well. Got this picture of a face. It seemed familiar. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. It was too hazy.
Oh, well, never mind. It's the new tomorrow person. Whoever and wherever he may be.
To the new tomorrow person.
Back to work, then. Sure you're feeling up to it?
Yes, Professor, I'm all right now. I've had lickings off my father before, but yesterday it just seemed to set me off, that's all.
Let's hope it doesn't upset your performance.
Why do you keep bringing me every day and giving me these tests, Professor? You know I'm no good at it.
Yes, I will tell you. Remember when I tested your brainwaves with the EEG machine?
When I came in all those kids from my school and you stuck those wires on our heads.
That's it, yes. I took a reading of all your brainwaves. I took, and I still do take, readings of the brainwaves of thousands of kids. But you see, Tyzo, your brainwaves are unique. Well, almost unique. Look, I'll show you. Now, these are readings of ordinary kids. And these are yours. Now, you see that definite wedge shape there? See, Tyzo, I'm looking for people with special abilities, special powers.
What, like Superman or that bloke that bends forks on television?
In a way, yes.
And you think I'm like them?
Not like them, but like another boy I knew once. You and he are the only people I've ever met who have your particular type of brainwaves.
Who was this other boy?
Came to my office about a year ago and claimed he had special abilities. Took a film of his tests. Look. Laboratory tests at Duke University in the United States. have shown that subjects with psychokinetic power can influence the fall of dice merely by an act of will. We're going to test Stephen to see whether he has PK ability by means of this apparatus. We'll get the computer to select a number between 2 and 12, and then Stephen will try to will the dice to come face up with that number. Right, let's see. Ready to try?
Yes, I think so.
The number is 7.
Yes. Now. I got it.
Well done.
Well, he could do it, but I can't, so why don't you worry with him instead of me, Professor?
Because he disappeared.
Can you find him again?
When I say he disappeared, I mean it. Literally. He vanished into thin air, right before my eyes.
Face. I know I've seen it somewhere before, but I just can't remember where.
Here, have some coffee. Look, I've got the first 2 periods free, and then I've got to get back. But if you think talking about it will help you remember...
Well, it was this man in his mid-30s, clean-shaven. I'm trying to think.
Oh, just a friend, someone you met in the street, or what?
Oh, I don't know.
Good. Try again. Let's see what number the computer gives us this time. Tyzo, the number is 5 and 4.
5 and 4.
Well done, Tyzo. That's 5 in a row.
Must be with gypsy magic.
Not a bit of it. You are like Stephen. I knew I was right.
Perhaps one day I'll disappear like him.
I hope not. At least not before you've won with a Nobel Prize or something. That reminds me. I want to ask you a favor.
Yeah?
Until now, no one else has seen you doing these tests. Would you mind if tomorrow some other people came in? They'd just stand quietly by and watch.
Sure, I wouldn't mind. Should we do it again, Professor? I think I've really got the trick.
No. Enough for today. I want to make sure you're on top form for tomorrow.
Professor Corsten. Hey, Professor Corsten.
Who?
Professor Corsten, that parapsychologist, that's who.
The man you got involved with before, the one researching into ESP.
Yeah, that's the one. How could he get in touch with the Tomorrow person before they broke out? Before they showed any signs or special powers?
Why don't you go and ask him? Sounds like a promising line of inquiry.
Yes, why don't I? Tim, can I have the coordinates?
Yes, Stephen. As soon as I have located him.
Yes, Vice-Chancellor, I suppose it could have something to do with next week's meeting of the Research Finance Committee. No, I assure you, it won't be a waste of time. Quite the contrary. I think you'll find it very interesting. Colonel Masters? No, I haven't heard of him. Oh, well, in that case, bring him along. In America, the military put a great deal of money into ASP research. Perhaps we can persuade them to do the same in this country. Yes. Till tomorrow, then. Thank you, Vice-Chancellor.
Hello, Professor Corsten.
Stephen, this is an unexpected surprise.
I'd prefer if our conversations weren't recorded, Professor.
As you wish. Great loss to science.
Are you still researching into ESP?
Of course.
You getting anywhere?
I have my little successes, but they're not much compared with what you can do. You wouldn't be prepared to help me, would you? I've arranged a demonstration tomorrow, the outcome of which may be very important in deciding whether the Finance Committee will renew my research grant.
Well, who'll be there?
The Vice-Chancellor, some members of the Finance Committee, oh, and a representative from the Ministry of Defence.
You've got to be joking. That's the last thing we want the military to find out about us. Would they want to use some sort of secret weapon? That's certain.
Us? There are more of you? How many?
Yes, well, I'm not supposed to tell you.
You already have.
Well, I have 2 other friends in London.
2 more. Should be interesting. Now, what can I do for you?
Have you been on board a boat recently, Professor?
No, I'm not a very good sailor.
Have you encountered any more people like me recently?
Where's this leading, Stephen?
If you did, would you let me know?
I might. And then again, I might not. You won't help me with my researches. Why should I tell you if I've discovered a telepath? You'd only persuade them not to cooperate with me. Besides, I don't know how to get in touch with you.
Well, we'll give you a telephone number. Yes, but you'll never be able to trace where it leads, because as far as the telephone engineers are concerned, it doesn't exist. But it will get a message to us, Professor, and it's very important.
I wonder if Tyzo is one of them. Whoever them is.
Ah, Stephen. Liz told me where you'd been. Did you find out anything?
No, it wasn't very helpful.
Did you expect him to be?
No, I didn't.
Is he connected with the boy who's breaking out?
And I think he may be. But he doesn't know the boy's a potential Tomorrow person. I didn't want to say too much. He doesn't know about the Tomorrow people yet.
Yet? What's that supposed to mean? Never mind. We'll wait till this kid breaks out again, and then we'll go to him fast.
Good morning.
Very well. How'd you do?
Colonel Masters.
Colonel Masters, I'm Professor Corsten.
My assistant, Tricia Conway.
Miss Conway?
Well, Professor, I've read your publications. Most interesting. Especially your hypothesis that the next stage of human evolution is already amongst us.
Yes. Now, shall we begin? Vice-Chancellor, ladies, gentlemen, this is Tyzo Boswell, who is going to give us a small demonstration.
Of mind over matter.
Precisely. Okay, Tyzo, you go, old boy. Now, normally, I use a computer to provide random numbers. But if any of you would like to give a number for each of the dice, then Tyzo will try to make the dice match it.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Okay, Tyzo?
3 and 4.
There you are, Colonel.
Well. Choose the numbers.
5 and 4. 5 and 4.
4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Good boy, Tyzo.
Well, you're fortunate in having such a talented subject for your experiments, Professor. You should take him to Monte Carlo with you. Then you'd have no need to worry about research grants.
I've just spoken to Professor Corsten.
Have you now? What did he say?
He wants to see you, Stephen, right away.
Right, I'm off.
No, it might be a trap.
Well, yes, it might be, but one of us has to go.
Yeah, and it's got to be you. You're the only Tomorrow person Corsten knows about.
Yes, well, that's not strictly the case.
You didn't tell him about us.
Well, no, I didn't exactly tell him, but he knows there's 2 more of us.
In that case, some precaution will have to be taken.
Clean phone.
Huh? Who are you?
Clean phone. I've come to clean your phone.
Must you do it now?
I only come once a month, sir.
Well, as far as I can see, it isn't even dirty. Please be quick about it.
Every telephone's a haven for countless germs, sir. I'll be as quick as I can, but it's best to do a thorough job, eh, sir?
Oh, all right, then.
One last polish. Now put it back without leaving my messy finger marks on it for you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sorry to have troubled you.
Just a minute.
Sir?
What did you do to the phone just then?
Cleaned it, sir.
No, afterwards.
You mean when I put it down?
Yes. Without touching it.
That's so I don't dirty it, sir.
No, miss, come
Sir,
back.
I have a lot of telephones to clean.
Can you do that again?
It's still dirty, sir? I'm sorry, I'll clean it again for you.
No, I mean, pick it up without touching it.
Why, sir, can't everybody?
You know damn well they can't.
My friend Stephen can, sir.
Ah, you're another one. One of his friends. Ah, for a moment I thought I might have made the ESP discovery of the century.
Sorry about the little dope, Professor. I'm Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
I came because we wanted to make sure there wasn't a trap set for Stephen.
Trap? No trap. I just want to know what you've done with Tyzo Boswell.
With who?
Young Tyzo Boswell. He's disappeared.
Well, that must be it.
Yeah. Okay, now listen, we don't want to startle them, so 2's enough. Stephen, wait till you see us actually go inside the caravan, then jaunt back to the lab, okay?
Okay.
Mrs. Boswell?
I might be.
This is for Mrs. Boswell. And this is for later on. I'd like to have a word with you, please.
Mrs. Boswell, you have a son called Tyzo.
No, I don't.
Do you want us to call the police in? They might charge you with his murder.
I never murdered him. He's not dead.
Ah, so you admit you do have a son called Tyzo.
I didn't say nothing of the sort. Now, you get out of my caravan, both of you.
Not until you tell us where Tyzo is.
Tyzo? Who's Tyzo? My husband will be back soon. He's only working on the farm or by.
Good. Perhaps he'll tell us what we want to know. Where is Tyzo, Mrs. Boswell? What have you done with your son?
If you don't go now, I'll put a curse on you. A gypsy curse.
So, you believe in magic, do you, Mrs. Boswell?
Of course I do. I'm a gypsy, aren't I? Gypsies can make magic happen.
Well, how's this for magic? Or this?
You're a Chuvacon. One with the old magic.
Well, that's not quite how we describe ourselves, but that's the general idea.
You see, Mrs. Boswell, Tyzo is one of us. He has our magical powers. That's why we must find him and teach him the old knowledge.
Tyzo a Chuvacon? And him just a gypsy boy? A Chuvacon? And his father beating him so? A Chuvacon?
Please don't cry, Mrs. Boswell. Just tell us where Tyzo is and everything will be all right again.
We're gypsies. We should love all our children. But his father's always hated Tyzo.
Well, I'm sure it's not that bad.
You don't understand. He sold Tyzo.
But you can't sell people. Well, not in this day and age. Not in England.
Well, sell him they did. From what I saw of his surroundings, he could hardly be worse off.
Their caravan was spotless. A gypsy might not like living in a stinking old underground station either.
Do you mind, Elizabeth? I keep the lab spotless.
Beg your pardon, Tim. No offence meant.
Yes, but who did they sell him to?
Well, at first she wouldn't say. They told her that harm would come to Tyzo if she told anybody.
Who did they sell him to?
A certain mysterious Colonel Masters.
Colonel Masters, Miss Conway, please be seated.
Now, Professor, it's good of you to see us. Short notice.
Not at all.
And how is your talented young protege?
He's a bit indisposed right now, I'm afraid.
Really? Nothing serious, I trust?
No. No.
Then I'm very pleased to hear it.
Good. Well, what can I do for you, Colonel?
Well, I'll come straight to the point, Professor. I want you to work for me.
Tell me more.
There's half a dozen Colonel Masters in the army list.
I think we ought to go and see Professor Corston. Tell him what we know.
Why?
Well, he might know who this Colonel Masters is.
Right.
Elizabeth, Stephen.
Professor.
I'm John.
You know who I am?
Yes.
Good. Well, Colonel Masters.
We know.
What, that he's offered me a job?
No, we didn't know that. But we do know he's got your Tyzo.
Has he now? They didn't tell me about that, but it all adds up.
They?
The Colonel and his assistant, the mysterious Miss Conway.
Rick?
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, did you manage to read his mind?
Yes. There are other telepaths.
So Corston was holding out on us. Did you get a picture of them?
It was not clear. They're young. Colonel, they can disappear and reappear again in another place.
teleporters. Now, they really would be worth having. Well done, Trish. So Corsten knew of their existence but wasn't going to tell me. But he will. And soon.
Colonel Masters is in charge of the official Ministry of Defense telepathic research project.
Yeah, it's what we've always feared. That the Saps would look upon us as a potential secret weapon.
Saps? Who are they?
It's a bit insulting, really. It's our way of referring to Homo sapiens. Saps, you know.
Oh, I see. You see yourselves as Homo superior, then?
Well, I don't know about superior, but we are undoubtedly the next stage of human evolution. After Homo sapiens, that is.
Look, we're wasting time. I want to find Tyso.
Professor, where have they taken him?
I don't know. But you needn't worry. As I told you, they've offered me a job. I start with them in a month's time. Then I'll be able to tell you where Tyso is and help you rescue him.
A month?
Yes. There'll come to no harm in that time.
Professor Corsten, you've described to us a boy in the final stages of breaking out. Now, if we're to be of any help to him whatever, we have 2, maybe 3 days at the very most.
No, I assure you he'll be all right. Colonel Masters needs him. He'll look after him. And then in a month's time...
I don't think you quite understand, Professor Corsten. If we don't get to Tyso in 2 or 3 days, he will die.
Yes, there'll come to no harm in that time.
Professor Corsten, you've described to us a boy in the final stages of breaking out. Now, if we're to be of any help to him whatever, we have 2, maybe 3 days at the very most.
No, I assure you he'll be all right. Colonel Masters needs him. He'll look after him. And then in a month's time...
I don't think you quite understand, Professor Corsten. If we don't get to Tyso in 2 or 3 days, he will die.
Sounds like a good cover. Could you just give me the details again?
Well, the hostel is called The Sanctuary. It's at 28 Owens Road, Shepherd's Bush. It's run by our father, Martin O'Connor. It's a hostel for kids who either run away or been turned out of their homes.
Doesn't happen to be where you really live, does it?
No, I wouldn't let you know my real address, not in a million years.
Then how? I mean, this Father O'Connor who runs the home. Isn't he going to say you've only been there a couple of days?
Well, I've only ever spent the last night there, as a matter of fact. But Elizabeth has been working some psycho-hypnosis on Father O'Connor, and he thinks I've been there for months.
There'll be a record, surely.
Well, they've been doctored to tell the same story.
Good. You've been very thorough. Corsten? Oh, good. Send them up, George. They're on their way out. Now, remember, Stephen, we want to show them a bit more ESP ability than Tyso could manage, but don't blow their minds, eh?
I'll do my best to hold myself back.
Come in. Miss Conway, Colonel Masters.
Well, Professor, you said you had something interesting to show me.
Yes. This is Stephen O'Callaghan. He wasn't able to make it to my last little demonstration, but I think you'll find him even more intriguing than the other boy.
Really? Where did you find him?
Stephen lives in a children's home.
It's not a children's home, it's a hostel for homeless boys.
Oh, well, of course, that's quite different, isn't it? Do you like it there, Stephen?
It's all right.
Where is this hostel?
28 Owens Road, Shepherd's Bush. Why?
Oh, no reason. Well, you're going to show us what you can do, Stephen?
Yeah, sure.
Odd, isn't it, Professor? How your most successful subjects all have unusual backgrounds.
Yes. I must say the correlation hadn't struck me before, but you're right. We'll begin, shall we, with the dice. Would you like to give Stephen 2 numbers?
Well, Stephen, can you roll me a double 6?
6 and 6.
Miss Conway, like to give 2 numbers?
No, it's all right. I'll do it. 2 4s, Stephen.
4 and 4. Yes, well, it doesn't work every time.
How on earth did you manage to see Father O'Connor?
Clean phone. Every telephone's a haven for countless germs. Works every time.
I hope you didn't levitate it as well.
Oh, why not? He believes in miracles. Anyway, I expect Stephen's performing those right now.
You spoke? Oh, hello, Stephen. How'd it go?
I think I've hooked him.
So the boy is a telepath?
Yes. And he was deliberately making mistakes. I managed to penetrate his mind enough to find that out.
What else did you discover?
Nothing. He detected me and put up barriers. He's a much stronger telepath than I am, and he was trying to hide it.
Does Corsten know the boy's true powers?
Yes, he does. I probed into his mind. He and the boy are up to something, but I couldn't find out what.
Stephen, you shouldn't still be here. The Colonel can't kidnap you if you're not at the hostel.
That's true.
And take that belt off. We don't want one of those falling into the hands of the Secret Intelligence Service.
That's a long way.
You can jaunt that far without a belt.
It is a long way for him to jaunt without a belt.
Mental exercise will do him good.
But Stephen is a shy boy, Colonel. He's not the sort to stand out in a crowd, not easy to get to know. His record card shows, and my memory tells me he's been with us for several months, but somehow I feel I don't know him at all.
I do have clearance in the Department of Child Welfare, Father. The documents are in order, I assure you.
Yes, I can see they are.
Your records will show that Stephen left in order to enlist in the army as a junior leader. That's where your responsibility for the boy will end, Father.
My responsibility for one of God's children never ends, Colonel Masters.
Quite. I meant your responsibility in the legal sense, of course.
It seems to me as if the boy's future is being decided for him. I gather he's not even been consulted.
And I haven't had time to speak to Stephen and put it to him yet, no. But don't you feel, Father, that most of us have our future decided for us? Were you not called to your vocation?
Well, indeed I was. But you're hardly offering Stephen a vocation in the priesthood.
No. The millions of young men of my generation they had their future decided for them, and accepted the responsibility of fighting for their country.
Oh, its circumstances were different then. For one thing, there was a war on.
There is a war on now, Father. A war to preserve the balance of power and the fragile freedom of democracy.
And what precise difference is one 15-year-old boy going to make to this war of yours, Colonel?
I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to tell you that. I can only ask you to take my word that Stephen could be vitally important to the continued survival of Western democracy.
Well, indeed. Perhaps if this Western democracy you speak of needs to call upon the help of mere children for its defense, it may not be worth defending. Have you thought of that, Colonel Masters?
Stephen will come to no harm, Father. Now, may I please see the boy and say what I have to say to him? Which is for his ears alone, I'm afraid.
All right, I'll fetch him. But I'll tell him he needn't go with you if he doesn't wish to.
You tell him that, Father. Well, Tricia?
The priest is very confused, Colonel. His mind is like a maze. He's known this Stephen O'Callaghan boy for months, and Yet he hasn't.
What on earth are you talking about?
I don't know. It's strange.
Well, you can say that again. You sure you're on form today?
There's nothing wrong with my power to read minds, Colonel, but there is something wrong with the priest's mind.
Yeah, the man's a fool anyway.
Colonel, that boy is in communication with other telepaths.
John, Elizabeth, it started. Father O'Connor have just told me they've come for me.
Good. We'll play along with them and keep in constant telepathic touch with us.
He told them we had come for him, I'm sure of it.
Right. As soon as we get him into the car, use the mental tranquilizer. You got it ready?
Well, they're coming.
In you go, Stephen. Now remember, it's up to you. You make up your own mind, and I'll support you.
Thank you, Father.
I'll not be far away, Stephen.
Yes, Father.
Sit down, Stephen. You know why we're here.
What do you think I am, a mind reader or something?
Yes.
Oh, you believe all that stuff of Professor Corson's then?
Well, I think there may be something in it.
And you think that I'm some sort of a Superman?
Well, I wouldn't put it quite as strongly as that. Look, Stephen, you're wasted here. I want you to come with us, where your talents can be really used.
You tell me where this somewhere is?
No, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Oh, secretly?
Yes, very secret.
And what's in it for me?
The honor of serving your country and other more tangible inducements.
What, money in that?
If that's what you want, yes.
What sort of job would it be? Not spud bashing, that sort of thing.
No. I work in intelligence.
James Bond and that?
Yes, that's right. I mean, you must see how useful your talents could be in that field.
And you want to train me to be some sort of a spy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll come. I was going to leave school in 6 months, and then what? Job in a blacking factory at Hammersmith.
Good man. Father O'Connor! Can you get your things right away, Stephen?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Father. Stephen's decided to come with us right away.
Stephen, are you sure?
Yeah, Father.
I can't make you go with him, you know.
I want to go. It'd be a change instead of staying here or working in a factory.
All right, then.
Now, come on, hurry up, Stephen. I haven't got much time.
I'm on my way, John. They're taking me in a car.
Well, what did you expect? A coach from 4?
Ha. While we're having this telepathic conversation, the girl keeps giving me strange looks.
It's your ugly face. We didn't know how to tell you.
No, John, that might be serious. Stephen, do you think she may be telepathic?
They're giving me an injection.
Stephen? Stephen!
That's all right, Liz. They've drugged him. It was only to be expected.
We can't just let them take him away and us not know where.
Now, we'll know soon enough.
Hurry up, Professor.
Nearly finished.
The car is waiting, Professor.
Coming.
He's not here, John.
He's probably gone home by now, Liz. It's gone 6 o'clock, you know.
Has the professor settled in all right?
Yes, no bother.
Good.
But it all adds up. Stephen drugged into unconsciousness and whisked away, and then Professor Corsten disappears.
Look, Liz, I'm as worried as you are, but I think I can see things more in the long term. Colonel Masters works for the Secret Intelligence Service. Now, they are a branch of military intelligence concerned with special projects. It's what we've always feared most, that the military would capture one of us and use us as a potential weapon of war.
So why give him Stephen on a plate?
We're not giving them Stephen on a plate, we're taking Tyzo off their plate. Do you really think they'll be able to hold on to Stephen once he regains consciousness?
No, of course not. I'm sorry, John. You seem to have been trying to blame me for all sorts of things.
Well, Professor, they told me you were waking up.
Where am I? What have you done to me?
You're at the research center. We had to put you to sleep, I'm afraid, for the journey. Rather melodramatic, I know, but then we can't have everyone knowing where we are, can we?
What drug did you use?
Comaline, a small dose.
Oh. Oh, that's harmless enough. Doesn't have any serious side effects, except that it creates a lasting... Oh, thank you. I needed that. If I take this job of yours, will I have to be brought here unconscious every time?
Well, just for a few weeks, until we're sure you're not a security risk.
Weeks? Your other employees must do a lot of sleeping on the firm's time.
It gives our chief accountant sleepless nights.
Well, now that I am here, can we discuss exactly what it is you want me to do for you?
I want you to take charge of all research here. You'll be answerable only to me, but I won't interfere unnecessarily.
Researching, of course, into ESP.
Yes, of course.
What are you doing?
It's all right, Professor.
But I already have my own research facilities at the university.
From what I understand, that may be rather short-lived.
What do you mean?
Well, official policy is to discourage research into ESP, except that which is being done here.
That a bit short-sighted?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, after all, the government of the 1940s did not encourage lots of private research into projects like the atom bomb so that every private citizen could have one. And, Professor, the work we're doing here could well put nuclear weapons alongside the muzzle-loading musket in the War Museum.
I'm not blind to the potential of ESP, Colonel. But don't you think that what may turn out to be the greatest leap forward mankind has ever made should be put to peaceful rather than military uses?
Yes, I would agree, if the decision were ours alone. But every major power in the world, and quite a few of the minor ones, are actively engaged in research into ESP, with a particular view to its military and espionage implications.
You may all be defeated by the people who have the ESP powers. Suppose they refuse to cooperate in your war games.
Some already help us. Those who don't will be persuaded. Most people can be. Come, I'll show you around.
What goes on in here? Looks like the intensive care unit in a hospital.
That's precisely what it is. It's a complete life support system. At the moment, it's keeping alive two friends of yours.
Tyzo. Stephen. Heavens, man, what have you done to them?
We had to put them under Synaptrol. It's only a temporary measure, of course.
Synaptrol? That acts on the synaptic gap. Paralyzes the entire operation of the brain.
Exactly. That's why we need the machines to perform their essential bodily functions.
But Synaptrol is extremely dangerous. To the best of my knowledge, it's never been used on human beings before. Don't you think you're taking an enormous risk with the lives of 2 children?
I'm quite aware of the risk, Professor, but we had no alternative.
You've turned them into human vegetables with a very real risk they'll stay like that for the rest of their lives. In heaven's name, why?
It's the only way we can be sure we don't lose them.
Lose them? How?
By vanishing into thin air, Professor.
What do you mean?
We've already had one telepath with the same theta wave pattern as these two. A 19-year-old girl soldier. She just disappeared. I saw it with my own eyes.
When did this happen?
About 5 months ago.
She wasn't black, was she?
No. Why'd you ask?
Well, no reason. Just a hunch. Did she ever reappear again?
No.
No clues?
None. Except that just before she vanished, we detected the same theta wave pattern in her brain. That's what we're guarding against with these two by the using Synaptrol.
You can't keep them like this forever. Do nothing with them for a start, no research. And what happens when you bring them out of synaptrol paralysis? How do you stop them disappearing?
That'll be your first job, Professor. To find a way of taking them off Synaptrol, but keeping them here so that we don't lose them for our experiments.
Nothing else you'd like me to do at the same time? Like turn lead into gold, discover the secret of eternal youth, little things like that?
I know it's a bit of a tall order, but I'm sure you can do it. You can have every facility you need, except time. That's running out.
Why?
On human beings, synaptrol has a gradual decaying effect on brain tissue.
How long have I got?
4, maybe 5 days with this one. 2, maybe 3 days with this one. Think about it, Professor. You were watching?
Yes. I think it's monstrous turning boys into living corpses.
There's no room for sentiment in this job.
No, I suppose not. He asked you if the girl who disappeared was black.
So?
Well, just that when I delved into his mind, one of the 2 telepaths that I saw was a black girl.
Yes, well, I get a distinct feeling that Professor Corsten isn't telling me all that he knows. When he's settled in here, he'll tell me then.
I hope he does, for his sake.
In the meantime, I've given him permission to go back to his office to pick up certain pieces of apparatus he needs for when he settles in here permanently.
Can you trust him?
No. So I want you to go with him. He'll be under Comaline, of course. But while he's asleep, I want you to see that his office is suitably equipped. Here we are. What would we do without chitties?
Well, the stores won't like it.
Have I done it wrong?
No, it's fine. I mean, they won't like giving out a TD-94. They never do.
My dear Tricia, quartermasters never like giving away anything, not even an odd sock.
I'll threaten to turn him into a toad. He's quite convinced I'm a witch.
Now wait till he sees one of our teleporting kids. I do hope they agree to work with us. Without too much persuasion. And we'll really give the KGB and the CIA a run for their money.
Make him comfortable. And then go. Colonel, I'm at Corsten's now.
Good girl.
I'm now setting one of the devices in the telephone. And the other one underneath the lamp. I'm setting the devices now, sir. I'm now going to set the TD-94, sir.
That's fine, Trish. I can see and hear you clearly.
I'm now wiping the lens, sir. There you are, Professor. You're on television, did you but know? All right, Colonel?
You've done well, Trish. Now check the phone. That's fine, Trish. I can hear you and myself, clearly. That's excellent. You can come back now. I've got a telephone call coming in on that emergency number Stephen gave Professor Corsten.
Hello?
Is that 175204?
Professor Corsten, have you got any news?
I've been to the research center. I've seen Tyzo and Stephen.
Where? Are they all right? How are they?
They're alive, both of them.
but that's about all.
What do you mean?
They've been drugged with Synaptrol.
Synaptrol causes total paralysis of the brain.
They'd die. Surely they'd die.
Well, they're being kept alive by an intensive care unit, which has taken over their bodily functions.
That's horrible. We can't just leave them there like that.
Where is this research unit, Professor? You've been there, you must know.
I don't. I've been there, and I've seen Tyzo and Stephen, but I've no idea where it is.
Why not?
Well, they put me to sleep, both going there and coming back.
And you've no idea?
No. But I've got to go back there and stay for several days.
Well, then you could find out where it is.
No, it's no use. They'll put me to sleep again. But we've got to find a way of counteracting the Synaptrol and wake Tyzo and Stephen and then rescue them. If we don't, they'll die.
We could fit Professor Corsten up with a homing device, then follow him on the tracking satellite, and that'd lead us to Stephen.
Yes.
Reconnect us, please, Tim.
Professor, are you calling from your office?
Yes. And I've got to go back there soon.
No, stay there. I'll be right with you.
Colonel, look.
Now, you know what Synaptrol is.
Good God, where did she come from?
Well, she just appeared out of thin air. It's like I saw when I read his mind, the black girl.
That's it. That Tricia is a genuine teleporter.
Fascinating.
We've got to get her. We've got to catch her now.
Where did she come from?
Well, she just appeared out of thin air. It's like I saw when I read his mind, the black girl.
That's it. That Tricia is a genuine teleporter.
Fascinating.
We've got to get her. We've got to catch her now.
Colonel Masters wants me to stop Tyzo and Stephen from jaunting when he lets them wake up. I should say, if he lets them wake up. He'd sooner have them die than disappear.
Why? What could he possibly gain from that?
Thinks he might learn something from dissecting their brains.
Professor, I want you to put this on.
Ring?
That homing device he's giving him to wear must be transmitting on almost the same wavelength as our video bug. That's what's causing this interference.
But what shall we do about the professor? He is working for them.
Go and fetch him. But whilst he's under Comaline, remove that homing device. But leave it there. Have two men standing by with Synaptrol. When the black girl returns to see what's wrong, get her.
I'm afraid I've had my doubts about you in the past, Professor. But I want to say thank you and good luck. And perhaps when this is all over, we'll see what we can do to make things up to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth, but I'm afraid the trouble you're in's all my fault anyway. Corsten? Yep. It's Colonel Masters, sending his assistant over with a car for me.
I'll be going. Take care.
That's very kind of you. I'll see you soon.
It is nearly morning. Would you like another cup of coffee?
No, thank you.
Tim. Feeling your heart's not in this game, Elizabeth.
My feeling's right. Tim, is there still no signal from Professor Colston?
No, Elizabeth. I have heard nothing since you told me that the Colonel's assistant was coming to fetch him.
I think we ought to go and take a look.
Colonel, look.
Yet another one.
Well, that must be the boy we had on the telephone.
Splendid. More grist to the mill.
That's strange. I'm picking up a strong signal from the home device.
To think I nearly got to trust him.
Well, maybe he didn't take the homing device off voluntarily.
How would anyone else know about it?
That's a point. I better switch it off, I suppose. Well, that's odd. It shouldn't do that.
What?
Well, it's picking up a strange signal from somewhere nearby.
What is it, John?
It's coming from up here.
He's going to find the video bug.
That direction finder in his hand must be picking up the signal. I said their homing device and our camera were on almost the same frequency.
This is it.
What is it?
It certainly isn't a book. It looks more like a television camera.
A bugging device? One that can see as well as hear?
Well, it looks like it. It's still transmitting.
We can't have them running off with a top-secret video bug. I'd better destruct it.
They might get hurt.
No, they won't. It'll fizz a bit while it builds up the power to blow itself up. They've got any sense, they'll soon drop it.
It's buzzing, John.
Yes, I know, I can hear it. It's probably only an alarm to startle people who discover it.
Well, put it down.
No, I want to take it back to the lab and examine it.
John, I'm frightened. Please put it down.
Tell the men to move in. Throw it away,
Unit
you
2,
fool.
move
Throw
in
it
now.
away!
Move in now.
You all right, Elizabeth? Yes. Come on, let's get out of here.
Interesting little gadget, isn't it, Professor?
Yes. It's a sort of television camera, isn't it?
Yes, indeed it is. Have you ever seen anything like it before?
No.
Really? How often do you refer to the books on your bookshelf?
Quite frequently, why?
And you never noticed that you had something similar to that there? Really, you must be very short-sighted.
You planted one of these in my office?
Yes.
You had no right. There are laws against that kind of secret police spying.
No, it's just part of the normal security procedure for anyone about to be employed on top-secret work. Why are you getting so agitated? Do you have a guilty secret to conceal?
No, of course not. Just a bit edgy, that's all. Probably a result of the comaline I was given. What have you done with my ring?
Oh, I had it taken from your finger. You know why.
I really have no idea.
Oh, come now, Professor.
You saw?
Yes. Just exactly whose side are you on, Professor?
I'm not staying here.
Oh, dear, oh, dear.
You can't intimidate me like this. This is a free country, not a police state.
Come, think what you're saying.
You can't keep me here.
I have the authority to do with you as I see fit. However, let us just say that you are helping us with our inquiries into ESP. Something which could affect the defense of the country.
Don't be absurd.
Oh, I don't think the security of this country is absurd, do you?
I've told you what I think. My only concern at the moment is for the lives of those two boys.
Well, then, at last, there's something on which we can agree. They're of concern to me also. Now, are you going to cooperate? Or do we have to enter the realm of unpleasantness?
They call themselves the Tomorrow People.
Where do they come from?
I don't know. But they are human. I mean, they're not from another planet or anything like that. At least I don't think they are.
Why do they come to you and only to you?
They want to use me to help them rescue Tyzo and Stephen.
Are they using you now?
How would I know? How would you know? Can't begin to guess at their powers. For all you can tell, they may be in this room, now, watching us.
We were being watched when we jaunted into Professor Corsten's office. Who was watching? That's what I want to know.
Colonel Masters, or secret agents working for him. And if they were watching and listening when I jaunted in to give the Professor the homing device, the Professor's as much in need of our help as Stephen and Tyson.
Only if he didn't know he was being watched.
Well, he didn't act like he knew.
Now, maybe it was just that, an act. And then as soon as you'd gone, he took off the homing device and went back to experiment on Stephen and Tyzo.
No, I'm sure the Professor's on our side.
Elizabeth, when all this started, you were sure that Professor Corsten was laying a trap for Stephen. Now you know him better, you're convinced he's not. Even though Stephen and now Professor Corsten himself have disappeared.
That was before I really got to know him.
Oh, dear Elizabeth. You're always prepared to see the best in people, aren't you?
Your friends of Tomorrow People must be persuaded that it's in their best interest to cooperate with us.
Their best interest?
Well, all right, their country's best interest, then. Their abilities could be invaluable to the defense effort. The finest secret weapon the world has ever known.
If you cared to offer them an opportunity to work for peace, you might get somewhere. But talking like that, you don't stand a chance in hell of getting them to cooperate.
We'll see.
How are you going to get in touch with them, anyway? Oh, I see. You had my phone bugged as well. When I called them, you found out the number.
Yes, we did. But the post office said that the number didn't exist. When we tried to ring it, we got nothing at all. And yet we know that when you rang, you made contact. They're not stupid, your friends, are they?
Well, in that case, I can't help you, I'm afraid. Anyway, they must have given me up by now. Must blame me for all that's happened to them.
Yes.
Over what distance do you reckon they can communicate telepathically?
I don't know. But I should guess at least as far as they can teleport, and that's some distance.
Let's try a little experiment, shall we? These contain the only known antidote to synaptron. Let's wake up one of your friends and get them to send a telepathic message to the Tomorrow People. Well, I think this one should suit our purpose.
Tyzo.
You do it, Tricia. Have you value his life, Professor? You'll get him to do as I want.
He's coming round, Professor.
What's he saying?
He's calling for his mother in Romany, language of the gypsies. He is one, remember?
Professor.
Tyzo. I want you to do something for me.
Another test.
Yes. Yes, a test. I want you to think of the name Elizabeth. Think of a girl called Elizabeth and try to find her in your mind.
Elizabeth. Find Elizabeth.
Find her in your mind, Tyzo. Find her.
Elizabeth.
What's happened?
Something strange.
Elizabeth. Find Elizabeth.
I heard it that time too. Perhaps it's Tyzo, the gypsy boy.
But how does he know my name? I'm Elizabeth. Who are you?
I heard a voice. She spoke to me inside my head. Elizabeth spoke to me.
He's through. He's made contact.
Good, Tyso. Good.
Now tell him where we are and get him to tell her.
I don't know where we are.
The experimental weapons establishment at Halton in Surrey.
Tyso, tell Elizabeth we are at the experimental weapons establishment.
It is all right. I have the coordinates. I can jaunt you there any time you like.
Are you Tyso?
I could hear her, feel her that time. She's asking if he's Tyso.
Tell her to come and rescue him quickly. If you don't, Professor, it'll be the worst for the boys.
Tell her you are Tyso. Tell her to hurry and come and help us.
I'm Tyso. Tyso. Please help. Please hurry.
Tyso? Tyso!
Tyso!
He's through.
Excuse me, Professor.
What you doing?
Putting him back under Synaptrol. We can't afford to take any chances now that they know where we are. Captain! See that the guards are armed with these. They're high-pressure Synaptrol injectors. They work rather like a high-powered water pistol. They have a range of several meters and then knock out your target in a hundredth of a second.
Yes, sir.
They're to be used on anyone who appears out of thin air.
Thin air, sir?
Yes, Captain. Thin air.
Tyso? Tyso! That's it. Come on, let's go.
Hey, wait a minute, where to?
The experimental weapons establishment.
Oh, no, come on, if anything's a trap, that is.
We heard what Tyso said. He's in trouble. He needs our help.
He was in trouble when we let Corsten take Stephen, and that was a trap. What makes you so sure this isn't?
I have already sorted out details and plans of the experimental weapons establishment. Why don't you have a look at it from the outside before you go jaunting in?
I wish places like that didn't exist.
Yes, so do I. Dozens of white-coated scientists spend millions of pounds collected from ordinary, decent people who wouldn't harm a fly on inventing new ways to massacre those ordinary, decent people.
Until the saps learn to stop being aggressive, they'll go on building places like this.
They're out there.
Where?
Well, I don't know exactly, but I can feel them.
How does she know?
Well, I suppose it's time you knew, Professor. Miss Conway is telepathic. Oh, she's not in the same league as your Tomorrow people. But she is partly telepathic.
I thought so. A telepath. You're helping them to catch her own kind.
Oh, all right, Professor, that'll do. Miss Conway is not so obsessed by her own powers that she neglects her duty to her country.
And what about her duty to humanity?
No, they've gone again.
They're probably doing a recce. Spying out the lie of the land before they attack. But we're ready for them.
They won't come. They'd have guessed your trap. I've had plenty of experience in the art of survival. Can you imagine living your whole life in a tribe of monkeys, with your very survival depending on them not finding out that you're a human being, a superior creature? That's the sort of training these kids have had.
Are you suggesting that to them we're no more than a tribe of monkeys?
No, they don't think of us like that, but nevertheless, compared to them, that's what we are.
They're coming again, Colonel. Here.
Well, Professor, looks as if you're on the side of the angels after all.
The girl Tricia is a telepath.
Quite a few people are. Unfortunately, it doesn't always mean they act like us.
How do you mean?
Well, you see, Professor, we can't kill people or even harm them. We can only stun them. Well, in those circumstances, we have to follow our instincts, even though it means we might get killed ourselves.
Yes, yes, of course. Nature would put that kind of limit on creatures with your powers.
Where are they keeping Tyso and Stephen?
Well, I can show you where. But you can see on this screen that they're heavily guarded.
We keep them in those?
Yes, under Synaptrol.
But how did Tyso manage to wake up and contact me?
The Colonel has an effective antidote to Synaptrol. Keeps it in here.
No problem, I think. Liz, guard the door, will you? Soon have this opened.
You're a safe cracker as well.
In a manner of speaking, yes. It requires a lot of concentration. I have to feel inside the lock with my mind, find the pattern of it, and then move the tumblers. Does it, I think? Is this it?
Yes, that's the...
Elizabeth!
Sure. Out of the way, Professor.
John!
Tricia, what happened?
They were here, Colonel.
Did they get the other two?
No, they're still safely under Sinatral.
What about Corsten?
He's out cold, Colonel. I got him with a Sinatral gun. And look.
The black girl.
Oh, the other one got away. He teleported, I guess.
Never mind, we've got this one. Well done. Better get her to the intensive care unit straight away.
John, what happened? What's wrong?
Charlotte hit me. Snapped.
I wonder how they managed to open this so easily. It's supposed to be impregnable. Get that girl onto a life support unit at once. You don't want her turning into a brainless vegetable. To lose such a unique mind would be tragic. You'd better go with her, Tricia. See they don't make a mess of it. That's it, Professor. It's time for you to wake up.
Colonel.
Well, now, you and I have a bone to pick, don't we?
Tomorrow people. Where are they?
You mean, did they get away? Well, yes and no. The girl, Elizabeth. She's on her way to the intensive care unit under Sinatral. The other one teleported, or jaunted, as I believe you would say.
He'll be back.
Well, if he is, we'll be waiting for him, but somehow I fear that may be the last we see of him.
That's what you think.
Oh, I don't doubt his courage. But Tricia felt sure she hit him with a jet of Sinatral just before he jaunted away. If she's right, even if he managed to get to where he was going to teleport, he'll be lying there now unconscious with his brain paralyzed. And unless someone can put him onto a life support unit, I'm afraid...
We've got to get help, Tom.
Oh, there's nothing I'd like better than to save him. But you know where he's teleported to? And if you did, would you risk telling me? I mean, after all, he may be perfectly all right.
We'll let Elizabeth go and take some antidote with her.
Oh, no. No, I now have a tomorrow person. She stays.
Not even to save his life.
Fortunes of war, my dear Professor.
John! John! The antidote, John! Use the antidote!
You're out of your mind if you think you can get the Tomorrow people to take part in military action. It's utterly alien to their nature. They die before they do anything like that.
I see. Thank you, Professor. You've just given me an idea.
I can't help you, John. Your paralyzed mind is closed to me. Elizabeth.
Now, Elizabeth, listen to me. Your friends are in danger. Don't jaunt. Do you understand? Tyso and Stephen are in danger.
Tim? Tim.
Elizabeth, at last. Jaunt in immediately, please. John is unconscious. He couldn't get to the antidote.
Try and read her
in time.
mind, Tricia. Concentrate. Try and read her mind.
Have I a few minutes?
Only a very few, Elizabeth.
I'll jaunt over as soon as I can.
Oh, I shouldn't do that if I were you.
Do what?
Elizabeth is planning to jaunt away.
You're talking nonsense.
Oh, no, she's not. You're not the only one with telepathic abilities, you know. And I wouldn't jaunt just yet if I were you, Elizabeth. There's something I'd like to show you first. These delicate machines are the only things keeping your friends alive. If you decide to disappear, I'll turn them off.
Tim, get other help for John. Please get other help.
He hasn't got long, Elizabeth.
They've got Stephen and Tyso under Synaptrol. If I jaunt, they'll switch off the life support system.
Have you decided to cooperate?
What do you want?
Nothing very much. Just get dressed and come with us, then I'll explain. You don't have to, of course. The choice is yours. But if you don't,
You'll murder them. If I jaunt, they'll switch off the life support system.
have you decided to cooperate?
What do you want?
Nothing very much. Just get dressed and come with us, then I'll explain. You don't have to, of course. The choice is yours. But if you don't,
You'll murder them.
Got here as fast as I could. What's up,
Thank
Tim?
goodness you were able to come. You were my only hope.
Oh, a friend in need is a friend indeed. What's up?
It's John. The jaunting pad. Quick.
No pulse? Nothing. He's not dead, is he, Tim?
That device beside him. Press it against his wrist.
Sure. What's been happening here, Tim?
I will give you the details later, Chris.
He's coming round. Hey, John, you all right, old son?
Chris, how did you get here?
Out of the sky, as far as you're concerned, you were nearly a goner.
I must have been unconscious.
Well, if you call having no pulse and not breathing being unconscious, all right. You look more like dead to me.
I'm very impressed. Over what distance can you make that work?
A few feet, that's all. It's our weakest talent.
You're not holding out on me, are you?
She's holding out on me, Colonel. There's a permanent barrier up in her mind, and I can't get through it.
If you're not holding out on us, why are you shutting Tricia out of your mind?
Would you like someone delving into your private thoughts?
That's not the point. Open your mind to her.
She won't like it. Be like plugging a battery-operated toy into the electricity mains.
Tricia?
Oh, she's bluffing.
All right. Have it your way.
Oh, no, make her stop. Oh, please, make her stop.
him?
Don't worry, Elizabeth. Chris is here. John is okay.
Are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I'll be all right in a minute. The power was overwhelming.
I was only joking. Now, kidnapping, now that is a crime. Seems to me this Colonel Masters is the real criminal in the case. Who's he working for?
Colonel Masters, Chris, is an officer of the Secret Intelligence Service who are responsible for unusual aspects of military intelligence work.
Oh, dear. Are you not getting a call-up papers, then?
That's not very likely, Chris. It's not how these particular officers and gentlemen operate. In fact, one thing's certain, they're no gentlemen.
So, what are we going to do?
Well, we've got to get Stephen, Elizabeth, and this boy Tyzo out of their clutches.
Huh. You and me against not just an army, but the army, huh? Okay. But it's not going to be easy.
Well, anyway, there's one thing to be thankful for. They don't know about the lab yet, or where it is.
Yes, but they do know about you. And I reckon things will be pretty hot for you lot from now on.
Things can't get much hotter than they are already, Chris.
Don't try anything like that again.
Then don't ask me to.
Elizabeth, I don't like using thoughts and threats on you.
Then don't do it.
But can't you see how important it is for Britain to keep ahead of our potential enemies in ESP research?
I assure you, Colonel Masters, that if there are tomorrow people in China, Russia, or anywhere else, they'll feel the same way as we do. They won't help the military madmen.
Those are totalitarian countries. They won't have any choice. Look, you want peace, and so do I. That's why I believe there has to be a balance of power.
Don't you mean a balance of terror?
Call it that, if you will. Can't you see that your powers, properly used, could probably make war impossible?
If we could use our powers to stop war, we would.
But you can. Your powers, your abilities, could be the weapon to put an end to war.
You still see it in terms of a weapon, don't you? Well, people thought that about dynamite, about the machine gun and poison gas. They thought it about the aeroplane and the atom bomb. It was even thought that the old English longbow would put an end to war after the carnage it caused at the Battle of Agincourt. Well, there've been a few wars since Agincourt, haven't there, Colonel?
But this doesn't happen to be Agincourt, does it? This is here and now. And it's Tyso and Stephen's lives which are at stake, remember.
The trouble with you tomorrow people is you're like someone who's got one special judo trick and you keep on using it the same way over and over again.
Well, how do you mean, Chris?
Well, you're planning to go barging back in there, well, jaunting back in there with stun guns blazing and me with a matter transporter, right?
You don't have to come if you don't want to, Chris. I'm grateful for what you've done already.
No, that's not the point. You're going at it like a bull at a gate. You want to use a bit of subtlety.
We have the element of surprise.
No, you won't. Jaunting's an old trick to them. They've seen it before. They know you can do it. They'll be waiting for you.
What do you suggest?
Well, something different, using all the advantages we've got, but the unexpected. Like if... Oh, what's the use? I know you wouldn't approve.
Oh, come on, try me.
All right. You know what they say, if ever you want anything done, always go to the top.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. So, who is this Colonel's boss?
Oh, I don't know. Some general, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
You don't expect him to be of any help, do you? They're all tarred with the same brush.
And who's this General's boss?
Field Marshal? Look, Chris, where's all this leading?
And above him the war, what's it? They call it the
Minister of
administrator?
Defence, yes.
But who gives them their orders?
I don't know. Well, of course I do. It's Parliament.
Mm-hmm. And who's the head of Parliament?
The Prime Minister?
That's him! That's the Prime Minister!
Be careful with that gear change. This car's a valuable collector's piece.
I know. While I was waiting for you outside the Hilton, I took a 50-quid deposit on it from a Yank. What? Not really. I'm not daft, you know. Well, I suppose we'd better get on with it.
Yeah. I don't like it. It makes us as bad as they are.
Now, don't forget, if there's any nasty work to do, I'll do it.
Yeah, all right. Now, let's see. Matter transporter fixed onto a belt and set for the lab. Now, just get the range. Jaunting into a moving vehicle is difficult enough. Jaunting between two is darn near impossible.
I can stop if you like.
No, just keep your speed steady. What every well-dressed Prime Minister's wearing these days? Right.
you disappear, what happens to you?
We reappear somewhere else. But I think you've already observed that happening.
Yes.
You mean one moment you could be here, and the next you could be, say, 5,000 miles away?
Yes. What did you think we did?
I don't really know. Became invisible, walked out of the room, something like that. It's so hard to believe that you could be here one minute and, say, in the Kremlin the next.
Yes, I could, but I can think of no reason to go there.
Oh, I can think of a million reasons to go there. The KGB won't know what's hit them.
Yes, you're right, they won't, because nothing is going to hit them.
How long does it take you to jaunt from one place to another? I mean, say, for argument's sake, to Moscow.
For argument's sake, a few fractions of a second.
As quick as that?
Yes.
Well done, John. Everything has gone according to plan. Chris will be with you shortly.
But how did you bring me here?
Well, let's just say superior technology, Prime Minister.
But why did you kidnap me?
Have you ever heard of the Telepathy Research Unit at Holton? It's part of the Ministry of Defense Secret Intelligence Service. It's run by a certain Colonel Masters.
No, but then they don't tell me much about defense secrets.
It researches into extrasensory perception.
Oh, that's superstitious mumbo-jumbo. I'm surprised the Ministry of Defense wasting their time on that.
Not as wasteful as you might think, Prime Minister.
I see. And so you've laid on this little demonstration of your ability. It's very impressive. I must put a word into the right ear so that this Colonel Masters can be made to sit up and take notice. Can I go now, please? I've got several other things to do.
It's not as simple as that, Prime Minister. This Colonel Masters has got 3 of my friends, and he's holding them against their will.
And you want to arrange some sort of swap?
That's the general idea, yes.
All right, then.
Hold it! Right there.
What's that? A ray gun?
Yeah, a Martian death ray.
Yeah, well, it is a ray gun, but not a Martian one. You must forgive us for being jumpy, Prime Minister. What was that you were about to take out of your pocket?
It's just a card with the phone number. I gather you intend to bargain for my life. Well, this contingency has been foreseen and plans laid. The telephone number for you to ring is one of them.
Thank you. Yeah, this will be a help. At least they'll know we're serious.
Phone that number and they'll know that you've got me.
You said you could jaunt as far as Moscow and back.
I won't spy for you.
My dear girl, nothing could be further from my thoughts. However, you have agreed to allow us to put your abilities to the test. So I have prepared a little test for you.
What test?
Oh, it's quite simple. I want you to jaunt to Moscow. There you will go to the In-Tourist souvenir shop in Kavaska Square, where you will buy a Russian doll, like this one. You'll bring it back here with the receipt.
All right. There's no harm in that, I suppose.
Don't trust her, Colonel. Her mind's still closed to me.
Would you like me to open it up again?
I think we can trust Elizabeth. After all, she knows what's at stake. Sergeant! Sergeant Adams will take you and provide you with warm clothing, some Russian currency, and a tourist visa. How long will this mission take?
15 minutes. I need that time to set the coordinates.
Fine. Bring her back here as soon as she's ready.
You let her out of that door, and that'll be the last you see of her.
Not while we hold her friends.
Well, even so, I do think you're taking a big risk.
It'll be worth it. Our agent in the souvenir shop will sell her a very special doll. One that contains something we've been trying to get out of Russia for weeks.
You'd trust her with a mission like that?
Who better than an innocent tourist? Unknown to the KGB or even to our own intelligence service. Someone who can vanish into thin air.
Ah, Prime Minister, I've made that telephone call.
But how? I didn't hear you.
I have my methods. We hope to have you back to your affairs of state as soon as possible.
What happens if they don't want him back?
Chris, don't be ridiculous.
I regret that your friend's suggestion may not be as ridiculous as you seem to think. The question as to whether or not to comply with your demands and secure my release has to be taken, as it happens, by the one man who stands to gain most by my death.
Let me put your mind at rest about one thing, Prime Minister. We're not going to kill you, no matter what happens to our friends or to us.
Now, what do you want to go and tell him that for?
Because it's the truth. Because perhaps he ought to know we're incapable of killing even to save ourselves.
But what are you? I mean, your technology must be way ahead of anything in Russia or America. Who are you working for?
Our intention is not to work for any one power. We'd like to do our best for the world as a whole.
Are you from another planet? I know it sounds absurd, but there isn't any other explanation I can think of.
No, we're human, born on Earth. We do have contact with beings from other planets, and they do help us occasionally with advice and assistance. What we are is the next stage of human evolution. We call ourselves the Tomorrow People.
And you told me that you can't kill.
No, they can't, but I can, mate.
Just a minute.
No, I want my say. This is the first and probably the last chance I'll get. You've got to stop your military thugs from persecuting these Tomorrow People. Prime Minister, they can't get involved in war or let themselves be used as secret weapons. They have superpowers, yeah, and they can do marvelous things, right, but not for war. They're the best hope the world has got for peace. I'm sorry, but that's what I think.
And you're not one of them?
No, I'm just a plain old Homo sapien just like you. I could kill you, but they can't. They are different, you see.
I am beginning to see.
Liz, how did you get away?
What's the Prime Minister doing here?
Well, it was part of our plan to help you and the others escape, but now you're
I
here.
haven't got much time. Colonel Masters sent me to Moscow to buy him this from a souvenir shop.
Oh, why did you go?
Well, I had to, otherwise they would have switched off the machines that are keeping Stephen and Tyso alive.
Let me see it.
It's just a nesting doll. He wanted some proof that I could jaunt to Moscow and back. He gave me 15 minutes for the trip. I've only got a few minutes to spare. Give it to me, John. I've got to get back.
Just a minute, Liz.
John, they're just little dolls. One fits inside the other.
Common little nesting doll, eh?
Well, what is that?
I found it inside your souvenir. Analyze it, please, Tim.
What's that?
That's our computer, Tim, Prime Minister. Listen.
It is a crude hypnotronic implant, inserted by a surgeon into a person's skull. It could monitor their thoughts and control their actions.
But that's horrific.
Heaven help mankind. He tricked me. He told me there was no espionage involved.
He must have been trying to smuggle this little nasty out of Moscow for weeks. Destroy it, please, Tim.
Destroying this one will not destroy all the others that may exist inside Russia.
May I see it, please?
Yes.
I heard that voice say that this little device can be used to monitor people's thoughts and control their actions. The world will be better off without such things. And certainly this country has no need of them. Now, I think you better hurry back, my dear, before your time runs out.
"13 minutes, that's very good. No problems?
No.
Is it cold in Moscow?
Yes.
Are you sure you went to Moscow and to the shop I told you to?
Yes.
The in-tourist souvenir shop in Kavaska Square?
Yes, I have a receipt if you don't believe me. Why, is something wrong?
Yes, there is. As I think you know full well. What happened to the thing that was contained within those dolls?
What thing?
Corporal Bailey. Stand by and await my instructions. Now, are you going to tell me what you've done with the thing that was hidden in those dolls?
You said there was no espionage involved.
Well, I lied, didn't I? Now, come on, hand it over.
I can't. It no longer exists.
What's happened to it?
Wouldn't you be surprised if you knew?
Corporal, in 10 seconds, I want you to switch off the life support systems. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Yes, please.
3.
All right, I'll tell you.
Hold it.
Colonel, it's the telephone.
Later.
But it's the GOC, sir. He must speak to you right away.
Wait my instructions, Corporal. Colonel Masters? Yes, sir. Well, no, sir, but I... Well, yes. I see. Very well, sir. Well, it seems your friends have brought pressure to bear in high places. And to let you go. All of you.
I can't say that I'm sorry.
In every contest, there has to be a winner and a loser. And I'm sorry we didn't succeed with you. Someday you may come round to my way of thinking. Our democracy is threatened, and I believe it to be the duty of everyone to defend it. Tricia, you'd better go and wake up our friends.
Thank you. It's all right, John. He's letting us all go.
Glad to hear it, Elizabeth. Make sure Professor Corsten's released as well. I'll bring a matter transporter for him. Oh, Prime Minister, I've just been in telepathic communication with Elizabeth. Looks as though your short stay with us is over. We'll soon have you back to your affairs of state.
I'm very glad to have had this chance of meeting you. I'm glad, too, that you seem to have come out on top. If ever you should need my help...
That's very kind of you. You never know, we might take you up on that one day.
Good.
Chris will take you back using the matter transporter.
Elizabeth. Gosh, you were quick.
Quick? Have you any idea how long you've been under?
A long time.
A long time.
Where is this place? Where am I?
Later, Stephen.
Professor! They're calling me, Professor, they're calling me!
It's all right, Tyson. It's all right, I'm sorry.
My head's ringing. Noises. Faces I can
Looks
feel.
like he's getting near the final stages of breaking out. If we get him back to the lab, he'll be all right.
Well, let us.
I can't stop you, Professor.
Enjoy a little rest.
John, what's going on?
Later, let's get out of here as soon as we can, shall we? I've got your jaunting belt. Professor!
Hello, John.
Put this belt on, will you?
What is it?
A matter transporter.
Oh, good.
I've got a jaunting belt for Tyzo.
No!
It's all right, Tyson. It's all right. I'll put the belt on. All set?
Right, let's go.
Yeah.
Hello, Chris. Where did you spring from?
Well, I heard you were having a spot of bother, so I thought I'd come and give you a hand. I saw that our guest got back to where he belongs using the matter transporter, as you said.
Well done, Chris.
Hey, who's this?
Oh, Professor Corsten. Professor, this is Chris Hardy.
How do you do? Hi, Chris.
Welcome, Professor Corsten.
That's a voice I heard on the telephone.
Ah, yes, Professor. May I introduce you to our computer, Tim?
Hello, Tim.
Professor?
Oh, where's Tyzo?
I activated his jaunting belt under remote control, but...
Oh, where is he? What's happened to him?
He is still at the research center. He didn't manage to jaunt. He can't jaunt yet.
Of course, he's still breaking out. Well, the process isn't quite complete. I've got to go back for him.
I'd like to come with you, if I may.
Good idea. Chris, give me your matter transporter. Tyzo, link your mind with mine.
Stop it, for God's sake.
Well, Professor, have you realized you're witnessing something unique? A tomorrow person actually breaking out.
Not just a tomorrow person, John. One that I found.
What do you mean you knew he was a tomorrow person?
Yes, Miss Conway, I did.
Professor, would you mind taking Tyzo back to the lab?
No, of course not.
Tim,
come on.
Will you jaunt the Professor and Tyzo back, please?
Certainly, John.
I heard two voices that time.
I meant you to.
Why?
Because I want you to know about us, Tricia. To think about us. Because somewhere, back in your childhood, you too were a potential tomorrow person. But unlike Tyzo, unlike us, you didn't follow it through. But it's not too late. It's not too late.